Genève Monde, at the crossroads of history.
First, Rugga met UNHCR heads of the regions, grown people, men and women. And then I knew that he had the afternoon free, and I wanted him to get a feel of what these people do in refugee camps. So I had 6 who recently returned. I found them in the of the staff at headquarters. And Rugga was there, and I said, now I'm going to ask these young people to tell you their story of what they did in the camp. So when you went around the table, I got to this one young woman, Italian woman. She came back from a southern African camp, and I said, what did you do at the camp? Would you explain that to Dr. Rugga? She said, well, in these last months, going on half a year, my temporary job was to another woman and I, staff member and I, registered little children. Well, how do you mean registered, he asked. Well, we took their footprint, iris identification, and things like that. And we did that from morning till night, daybreak to 6 o'clock when it gets dark in the equatorial Africa. And he said, yes. He said, you did that all day long, and what did you do afterwards? And the girl said, well, afterwards was dark. We went home to the hut we lived in near the camp, and my colleague and I sat there crying. She said, to see these little children, it wasn't while it was happening, it was afterwards when you contemplated what you saw. They all had distended stomachs from hunger, which he as a doctor knew about. And he said, you sat and cried for what? An hour. Took us an hour to calm down. And he said, well, what did you do? You did this for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks? We've been at this for months. Jesus, I don't believe it.
Couldn't understand the amount of work and dedication.
He said, things like this make me appreciate what you people do to help refugees. And that was true. And he was a very sympa man. Fortunately, after he was the president of the Olympic Committee, when he traveled on our behalf, he went with his wife, who was also a doctor, by the way. Yeah. He traveled and he learned what it meant to have to flee, because that's what these kids all did. Yeah. No mother, no father. Too often. Not always, thankfully.
Now tell me about you. I want to know what's inside of you now. Are you happy, proud? I don't know if it's the word. Content with everything that happened in your life and particularly that aspect, that part of...
Well, one makes decisions in the crossroads of life, right? I left this advertising agency and I had a very good job there and I was very content, but it became too much for me and I could retire. And then by sheer good fortune, I met Mrs. Ogata, and I got into refugee work. Now, I was a refugee. You know, if I talk to kids in Africa, for example, who were refugees, I said, you know, I'm not unlike you. What do you mean, they would say, usually through a translator. What do you mean? Well, I was a refugee. They couldn't understand what was a white guy. They knew the world from their own world. And what was a white guy being a refugee? They'd never heard of Adolf Hitler and the reason that the Marshall family had to run. So in one respect, I felt I was coming home. It never left me. Maybe it left me in other years, but while active for UNHCR, it never left me that I was one of them. And it was the right thing for me to do. I can't say I was proud of it, but I made the right choice.
Yeah.
My crossroads took me down the right path.
And now you're in Geneva. How do you contemplate the world if there's a world to contemplate any longer? I mean, this is a crazy world. And you're still part of it and you're still active with the UNHCR.
Well, yes. And now with politics in the world, in the United States, they cut off on funding. We are terribly underfunded. I tell you, a little thing. A day or two ago, I going into the toilet in the UNHCR building in Geneva. I turned on the hot water to wash my hands. No hot water. They cut the hot water off because of the cost. We are trying to save money every single place we can. You know, there are 122 million people who are forcibly displaced in this world. 122 million forcibly displaced. They're not all refugees. The refugees fall under our work. Internally displaced fall under our work. They're more internally displaced than refugees. A refugee has to cross a border, but they live in refugee-like situations. They are forcibly displaced. You take the Ukrainians, they get bombed. They can't live in their houses. They have to get out someplace where it's safe in the Ukraine. Many of them have gone to other countries. It's never-ending, continually increasing. And will it end sometime? Not in my lifetime. We are still, unfortunately, human beings. We are not a particularly great species. We know how to harm people, and it's done. There's too much violence in this world. And fortunately, with an organization like the United Nations Refugee Agency, there are people around to help. If we hadn't been invented, we would have been invented. Someone's got to help. It looks like a never-ending problem in this world.